Hi, you guys, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm really excited to be here with you. And, um, you know, I've been waiting for this all day, to be honest with you. We're going to wait another probably 30 seconds to a minute and see if everyone can get in, see if anybody's delayed getting in. Welcome to the webinar. My name is Henry Melendi, and I am one of the partners, one of the owners of Florida Solar Energy. And, you guys are all on our marketing. I consider you guys our customers because you've opted into our marketing in the past. And I've got some interesting things that I would love to talk to you guys tonight about. The whole premise of this webinar is basically, destroying the high cost of solar. And we're going to really dig into, what we've learned over the last 2 years in dealing with both the customers such as yourself, as well as a very large solar dealer network here in the state of Florida. To cut to the chase, there's an awful lot of inflated pricing, soft costs. They call them soft costs: cost of acquisition, cost of marketing, inflated margins built into the sales process whenever dealers try to, present a sale opportunity to you guys for solar. There's a lot of roadblocks to adoption, and we want to cut through all of that and just kind of discuss that with you and show you how much you stand to save if you know how to do it, if you're a smart shopper. And so tonight is all about learning those secrets. Eliminating the commissions and soft costs literally add tens of thousands to a solar quote. And that is real. You'll be really surprised at how much you stand to save just by doing a few simple things. And so we want to shed some light on that. So without any further ado, I'm going to kind of get started. Once again, thank you very much for being on time. I've been looking forward to this all day. And this webinar should probably take about 20 minutes. It's not going to be a long-winded webinar. I'm going to cut to the chase. I want to paint the picture for you, kind of explain what's going on, some of the problems, and more specifically, our solutions to those problems and how you could stand to benefit if you are genuinely shopping for solar. So let's move right into it. So tonight's agenda: who is Florida Solar Energy? I'll go into that in just a minute. The problem with the solar adoption process. Lack of transparency and inflated pricing, to be very, very honest with you and very upfront. So, and what is our solution, Florida Solar Energy's solution? We have something that we want to tell you about. And what is next for you? How do you stand to gain out of this? We're all here for a reason, right? You guys are showing quite a bit of interest by being here with us tonight. And with that being said, we want to give you value. And tonight's webinar most certainly can save you tens of thousands of dollars as you shop for solar. So I'm pretty confident that you'll see the value. So let's move on. Our perspective. So we know our customers very well. We've been doing this for 2 years. We are a boutique lead generation and marketing firm that is firmly focused on the solar space in the state of Florida. We've generated thousands and thousands and thousands of leads through social media, and we have provided those to a ever-expanding dealer network throughout the state of Florida. And so we know both you, the customers, very well as obviously those dealers that we work with. We've also worked very hard to book appointments for those dealers from the leads that we generate. So we've had a lot of conversation with you guys in the past. We've had multiple conversations with you guys in the past, as you have expressed some displeasure in the confusion that is the solar shopping game. And rightfully so, because pricing is all over the board and it leaves a lot for the consumer to be confused about. And that has a lot to do with what some of the solutions that we propose and what we've been working on in full development of. So really excited to shed some light on that. So anyhow, just a little bit of insight into what we're doing. I'm going to move through this slide pretty quickly. This is a screenshot of one of our social media channels, you can see that we've, reached about a little over 1 million people from this screenshot here. We spent quite a bit of money. We've generated a lot of leads and a lot of opportunities. And, I say this to say that this is what we do for a living. We want to genuinely see solar adopted and more solar in the state of Florida, moving to a cleaner energy future. But there's some things to do and some things to fix. There's a huge gap. And like I said, barriers of adoption between the homeowner and the solar dealer. And more often than not, it ends up being a high pressure sales situation, and it really shouldn't be. So we aim to take that element out of the solar shopping game. And that's what we're here to talk about tonight. So solar dealers, why is the system broken? First off, they have to pay for cost of acquisition. That's acquisition for a customer or a sold deal, or even a customer that's just interested, moving towards a sold deal. They pay for this, all the internal marketing efforts, and then they compete with one another. They're competing with one another in all types of marketing, whether it be radio airplay, TV, social media, print advertising. There's a lot of money that goes into the marketing efforts of both the mom and pop shops, the SME sized businesses, and the very, very large ones. The very, very large ones that have a national presence that have just recently started to move into the state of Florida because a lot of the barriers, have fallen relative to the state of Florida being able to move into the next step of solar adoption. We're a ripe and ready state, and a lot of eyes are on the state of Florida. There's not a lot of solar on the rooftops right now in the state of Florida. But that's definitely going to change in the next 5 years, just like it has out west. It certainly makes sense. The technology is there these days, right now, for you to pay less for your solar than you are currently paying for your electric bill to the big power electric companies. And that is a fact. So, moreover, what's to say, like, even with that being the case, you stand a lot more to gain with a more transparent market in the pricing. And so the translation to all of this, solar dealers and why is the system broken? The translation is the large hidden cost in your quote to cover all those costs plus internally determined margin for a sale. There is typically a $3,000 to $5,000 cost of acquisition for a customer. That is most typical. With all things considered, in some instances, there's over $10,000 in hidden costs and soft costs, as well as inflated margin. So I say all of that to say that, the solar dealers are doing what they've always done. It's a broken system that keeps them, pumping that sales machine, right? So they're having to pay for the cost of all their overhead. They're paying for their salespeople to go out there. It's a little bit of a used car salesman approach. They are, oftentimes doing an arm twist in your own home. The whole thing just reeks of, lack of transparency. And so, moving into the next slides, you're going to see why we have called you guys here together today for this webinar so as to understand how do we beat that system. So what can you expect during a sales visit? Number one, a very, very strong sales pitch. Oftentimes a lack of product knowledge and a lack of confidence. Some of the salespeople that you might encounter in an in-home sales visit in the typical fashion that happens today, they may not have been selling solar for very long. They may have been in sales in general. So they're learning a whole new industry. It's a little bit of a gold rush. There's a lot of salespeople that have made an awful lot of money, selling solar in other areas of the country that have moved and migrated here into the state of Florida because it is that gold rush. And that being said, when I say gold rush, that's the mentality of the salespeople, right? There's a limited amount of time. 5 years, 7 years, whatever the case may be, where they know that a lot of solar is going to be installed in the state of Florida. And with that being said, there's an opportunity for them to make an awful lot of money. For you as a consumer, we want to go to bat for you and help you understand what you need to understand in order to be in the best leverage situation possible as a buyer and to ultimately save that money. Oftentimes you will be pitched a 30% tax credit really, really hard. What they don't tell you is a lot of times not everybody qualifies for the 30% tax credit. So that's an important factor that may be disclosed or may not be disclosed. You just have to be very, very careful. If you're behind in your taxes, if you've had, if you're elderly and you're retired, oftentimes you won't qualify for the tax credit. There's just certain situations, and I always advise people that you want to check with your accountant or your tax advisor to ensure the likelihood of you receiving the 30% tax credit, which goes away, I think, in 2022. So, and after 2022, it will decrease incrementally until it's gone. So anyway, moving on. Salespeople often overstay their welcome. I've heard horror stories where salespeople will sit on the couch for hours on end until you physically have to kick them out in an effort to weigh you down or wear you down. And that is just a very uncomfortable situation for you as the homeowner. Nobody should ever be put in that situation, especially when you're dealing with a large ticket investment such as solar. Typically a salesperson will want to run your credit. More often than not, that'll be a hard pull there in the home, which counts against your credit. It's just one of those things. They want to expedite the sale process, right? Salespeople also try to upsell additional products. So you have to be careful of that, because ultimately a salesperson may not have your best interest in mind, but rather their sales commission. You get the picture? Okay, so moving on. So what does this do to your pricing? Pricing disparity, as I said before, in the marketplace is the major problem. And the fact that there is no transparency, it just puts the homeowner at a disadvantage. So we've worked with a lot of different dealers around the state of Florida, and we are currently working with dealers. We notice, on the low pricing side of things right now, pricing is somewhere around $3 per watt. It can be as high as $4.20 a watt, and that is all over the state, right? For example, on a 10 kilowatt system, $3 per watt, you're looking at a $30,000 investment. And on the high side, at $4.20 a watt, you're looking at $42,000 for the same size system, the same product, the same manufacturer's warranty. It's just crazy pricing. So how do you sort through it, right? So the pricing is always at the discretion of the particular dealer. So one thing that does remain constant, though, is the price of the product that the dealer purchased the product for. For the most part, that is pretty well constant, and it stacks up pretty well apples to apples, depending on the type of photovoltaic panels that you might be looking for. Are you looking for Canadian made? Are you looking for American made? Are you opposed or not, or what have you, to panels made out of Asia? These are all tier one high quality panels that perform very, very similar. Their price is very similar. What isn't similar is the dealer's pricing to you. And so there is where that lack of transparency comes into play. So what is the solution? Very simply stated, the elimination of the sales process is the solution, right? Having the individual come out to your home and provide you a quote with all of these hidden costs and fees and soft costs and all of this stuff rolled into the ultimate price per watt they're trying to pitch to you, that is the problem. So what do you need to do as a buyer in order to gain leverage, right? First off, being a qualified buyer means that you have a real and genuine interest. Simple enough. You guys are all on the webinar here tonight. I have a feeling that you're all genuinely interested in solar. The ability to be pre-approved, via credit check or a soft pull, that equates to leverage. You are a credit-worthy buyer at that point, and you have the ability to negotiate, and they will, go to bat and fight for your business. So you just need to learn that and understand that. As we're going to start to explain a little bit about what we're doing, I'm just going to go ahead and interject here. A photo of your electric panel is always really nice to have for a dealer because it shows the dealer what they have to work with relative to how much your current panel will be able to accept with the installation of solar. Is their panel needing to be reworked, or is everything set and ready for the plug and play system to take place? So with that being said, it's very important to have a photo of your electric panel. Very, very helpful to a dealer or an installer. And also having a photo or some record or understanding of not only your latest electric bill, but your average yearly consumption. And a lot of bills, whether it be the physical paper or the online, if you're able to pull your bill up online and see the history, that information is really, really powerful because it allows them to understand what your consumption is, which is going to allow them to appropriately design a system that is going to meet your needs and goals instead of either underselling you or overselling you, right? So you have to be savvy as to the price and the disparity due to the sales process. That's what this is all about. So just know and understand that, and that dealers want to compete for your business. They will compete for your business. Right now, they're stuck in the hustle and bustle of the sales process and trying to get the next big sale for as much margin as possible. And it's a broken system. And unfortunately, the consumer pays for it. We are launching a system, number 6 here, operating within our system, Florida Solar Energy. We see the issue. We see the gap. You have on one end homeowners that don't know the true price of solar. And they're very confused. Case in point, I had a customer the other day contact us. A dealer quoted him $48,000. He had another quote take place. That dealer quoted him $33,000. And so they came to us for help, and we are able to do much better than the $33,000 quote. It boils down to who's sitting in your home at the time and how much do they feel like they can take you for, to be honest with you. And that's what we're seeing. So if we operate in a system, and right now we're doing this in a manual process, we are launching a platform in the fall. It is going to be an online platform that allows for the consumer, the homeowner, to understand the true cost of installed solar based on competitive bidding from a network of dealers that understand that you are already an approved buyer and you're serious about your purchase. It eliminates the sales process. It eliminates the overhead, the marketing. It eliminates those soft costs that equate to easily over $10,000 worth of additional fees, right? When I say operate within our system, we will actually have a system, but what I'm basically saying there is you want to get out of the old system, which is, this sales model approach that the dealers have been working with and working on since day one. So a little bit more about where we're going and our system, Florida Solar Energy System. We are launching an online platform in the fall. Goal number 1 is to bring price transparency to the consumer and bringing legitimate business opportunity to the most qualified dealers without need for all the soft cost and sales process. So ultimately, the homeowners are going to get a great price with competent dealers and a great product, and the dealers are going to be able to eliminate a lot of their overhead and deal with only interested, serious buyers. Pretty simple. Everybody's happy in that situation, in that scenario. Transparency is key. So we have always aimed to champion solar adoption. We want to champion more solar adoption through confidence and comfort, right? From the homeowner's perspective, you should be able to shop for solar just like you shop for any item on Amazon. And when you get to the point that you're ready to ask the tough questions, you're wanting some more detail, then you have the ability to engage a dealer to get those questions answered, right? But you should be in the driver's seat. You should be in control. So we want to provide that element back to the homeowner instead of the dealer. The dealer should be just providing the service of selling the product and installing the product, right? So transparency is key. And so we want to create the go-to system for solar shoppers, not only here in the state of Florida, but nationwide, worldwide, to be quite honest with you, because, we have operated like this. When I say we, generally speaking, the solar industry has operated this way for quite a while. There has been, a negative connotation. And I found out right away that even though we're in the clean energy business, this is some of the dirtiest business that I've ever seen, because there is a legitimate opportunity for people to be taken advantage of. A, because they don't quite understand the product, and B, you have a salesperson who is incentivized on commissions and upselling. It creates a lot of room for gray area. So if we can eliminate that and set the playing field even and level, then we're all going to be better off. So, and that's what we're aiming to do. So what can we do for you now? We can manually collect needed information from you to get the best pricing possible for you from our pre-existing dealer network. And that happens without sales commission and all of those soft costs. We would allow our dealer network to provide the best bid for your job installed. They're not necessarily selling that job because you are the shopper and you're driving the ship. So they're providing the service of installation, and the price point will reflect that. And the last slide I want to show you, in the example that we had, where we had those numbers, the true cost of solar and what a difference it can be if we operate within this model. Okay. So, obviously we want to provide you with the best and most reputable dealers in your area for the installation of the system. That's one thing that we can do for you guys. And we can promise no sales visits ever. So unless you want to speak with somebody, there may very well be a visit required in the pre-installation inspections phase. But we aim to provide all the shopping opportunity and the vetting process for you without an arm twist or someone sitting on your couch taking up an awful lot of your time, right? And so when we can do that and we can get down to the nitty gritty and understand the price point, the true cost of solar, then, it's a much easier process for you as a homeowner. And to be honest with you, it's a much easier process for the dealer. And so we can make those two ends meet. So at the end of the day, we just want to save you a ton of money. We want to save the dealer a ton of time. We want to save you a ton of time and boost solar adoption, because the technology is there now. If we can take the greed out of solar, then we can see the adoption of solar take place. And, that'll be good for all of us. So the information needed, it's very simple. If you want to enlist our services at no cost, obviously we are not charging for this to you, the homeowner. This is a complete service right now. It's a manual process, but we are in development of our platform, and it will become an online marketplace. We just need a few bits of information from you. And you can email this information once you gather it to Henry, and that is myself, henry.floridasolarenergy@gmail.com. Once again, it's henry.floridasolarenergy@gmail.com. And the only thing that we need from you is if you've had a quote in the past, maybe you've had multiple quotes in the past, it would be great if you could snap a photo of those quotes, because in the quote, it'll itemize what you were quoted on, what type of material, what size system. You can compare A to B to C. If we had a photo, image, digital image, whatever, email to that. That would be helpful for us, along with a photo of your electric bill and or your yearly average for your bill. We need to understand your consumption. And along with that, I talked about this earlier, that photo of your electric panel is very important. If we could get that from you, that would be tremendous. And if possible, a photo or a screenshot of your confirmed credit score. And, it might be an Equifax pull. It might be something, a lot of people use Mint these days that has a credit score. It might be a Credit Karma. I'm not looking for your social security number or any of your private information. Just something to show that there's validation there and there's some credit worthiness. You're going to be in the sweet spot around 680. If you have a credit score of 680, you're going to be able to get approved for most solar financing that the dealers provide, as well as a host of others. You could always go out and get a home equity line of credit. You could get a traditional loan. Those things make you a cash buyer to a dealer. But if you're going to go through the credit, the financing of a particular dealer, that 680 credit score is best. It's going to get you the cheapest money, put you in the driver's seat. If you have it below 680, don't fret. There are finance companies out there that will finance all the way down to a 600. The cost of that money might be a little bit more expensive, but you have to weigh that. That's your personal preference. You want to be put into the overall best situation for yourself. So you have to look at all information to see if it makes sense for you. There are programs such as PACE and Y-Green that can fund down to 550 on a credit score. And they typically don't actually, it's not a credit worthy type of a situation with programs like that. It has to do, with a number of different factors relative to, to your home, the equity in your home, etc. So anyway, that's pretty easy, right? So photo of quotes that you've had in the past, photo of your electric bill, understanding of your yearly consumption, average, photo of your electric panel, a photo or a screenshot of a confirmed credit score, minus the personal information. And then in the subject line is your full name. We know who you are because you have opted into our marketing in the past. So we will take that information, and that qualifies you as a serious buyer, which will allow the dealer network to bid for your job at prices that are greatly reduced, much different than what you would have if you were to contact them directly. Because if you contact them directly, they're right into the sales process. They're going to send a salesperson out there, and they're going to go through those gyrations, and all of that is going to be built into the pricing. So this is the best way to do it for now. Very, very soon in the fall, there will be an online marketplace, which will be very, very turnkey, and we're excited to launch that. If you're interested in waiting around for that, leave us, and whenever I get to that slide, I just leave us your information in a form that is specific to notifications of when that takes place, and we'll get to that very, very soon, as soon as that happens. I'll show you that in a minute. Once again, all of that information, henry.floridasolarenergy@gmail.com is the email that you would send that to. So what's the true cost? This is the most important slide because it shows you what the difference is. In the previous example, the low pricing around $3 per watt, the high pricing $4.20. in some areas of the state of Florida. So for a 10 kilowatt system, you're looking at 30 grand, $30,000 priced at the low pricing, all the way up to $42,000 at the high pricing. The actual price of what a dealer anywhere in the state would be happy to install that work for is more in the neighborhood of $1.85 to $2.25, somewhere in that range. You're going to find dealers, competent dealers, who stand behind their work, same warranty, same guarantee, been in the business for a good while. They do a fine job, and they're able to install comfortably within that range, $1.85 to $2.25, right? And so that is minus all of the sales process. If I were to bring them a deal of an interested consumer, such as yourself, and the consumer wants best pricing, transparency, wants to work with a quality dealer, if I brought that individual to them, they would happily install at $1.85 to $2.25. So what does that do for you? It ends up saving you a ton of money. In the example with the new pricing, you're looking at that same 10 kilowatt system for $18,500, as compared to $30,000 previously, to $22,500 compared to $42,000. So that's a savings of $11,500 to close to $20,000 just by eliminating the sales process, just by providing a few tidbits of information and allowing the dealers to understand that you're a serious buyer, and we eliminate the sale process. And so when you eliminate the sales process, you can throw away all of the cost of acquisition. You can throw away those soft costs that are really a barrier to adoption. But they end up making the dealer an awful lot of money, right? And so they're in this rat race, this sales rat race, but they're more than happy to install at a much cheaper price. And that is what I'm trying to get through to our customers. And that is the premise and the basis of the online marketplace that we are set to launch in the fall. As of now, you can take advantage of this by simply reaching out to us, providing us that information at absolutely no obligation and no cost to you, the homeowner. Will, you buy solar, maybe you buy it, maybe you don't. Everybody's situation is different, but at least you have transparency and you understand the real cost, and you can understand real pricing as a good foot forward has been, placed towards you from the dealer, because we've eliminated the sales process. Anyhow, so one more time, most important pieces of information: any recent quotes that you've had, photo of your electric bill, average yearly consumption, or your typical yearly, average of your bill. A photo of your electric panel would be wonderful, and a photo or screenshot of your credit worthiness. If you're above 680, you're in the driver's seat. If you're below 680, don't fret. There's a lot of options for you, but that is important. And the subject line for the email, as you pull all that together and you send it, and you can send it from your smartphone or just send it from your computer or whatever, if you have the digital images. Whatever is easy for you to get it over to us, include the subject line of your full name, and we will reach out to you and begin the process of gathering together the bid for your job, for you to vet, look at, understand, and make a decision one way or the other, right? You just need the right information in order to make the decision. So, and that's what we're seeing is the problem. Okay. So once again, you can email that to henry.floridasolarenergy@gmail.com. And we're going to be providing additional webinars upcoming. So, providing a lot more information, showing some case studies as to what people out there are actually saving using this system. So in the very near future, pay attention to our email marketing. Join us every now and then so that you can be kept up to date with how our development is going on our platform, and also hear some of the success stories that's that we're experiencing out there with our customers that are saving an awful lot of money. So, I appreciate your time and your interest. It's nice to be here with you guys this evening. I have a genuine interest to aid solar adoption throughout the state. We've done very well to sell a lot of leads to dealers over the last going on 2 years. That's all fine and good. But at the end of the day, there's a much better way for all of us, right? I would rather be providing much more value to the consumer and value to the dealer. From the consumer standpoint, they need transparency and to be treated fairly. From the dealer standpoint, they just need to be able to do the work, make a margin, and maybe let go of some of that sales hustle, right? To be perfectly honest with you, because the price of solar is going to continue to come down. When the tax credits go away in 2022, you're going to see the price of solar continue to drop, right? We're just creating that drop prior to that taking place by eliminating the sales process and all of those soft costs. So if you like what you hear, jump on over to www.floridasolarenergy.info. That is our website. You'll find a form there. First off, you're going to find the complete write-up of exactly what we're doing and why we're doing it. And you'll see the form there to be notified whenever we launch the platform. So you'll be first to understand and know that. If you would rather not go through this manual process and you actually want to wait for the online marketplace, that is where you go to be notified as soon as it takes place, as soon as we launch it in the fall. Also, share our page and our information with your friends. If you have friends that are into solar, that you feel like could benefit from solar, and you feel like they would like to save some money, and have transparency, share our information, if you will. Visit our Facebook page, like us on Facebook, and keep in touch with us. Reach out. You can find me, henry.floridasolarenergy@gmail.com. And, I would love to talk with you guys and see if I can answer any further questions. So, without any further ado, that concludes our webinar for the evening. So I hope I didn't go too long. I tried to make it as brief as possible. Sometimes I can get long-winded, but, I appreciate you taking the time to be here with us tonight. And until next time, this is Henry, and I'm signing off. Have a great evening.